myself up first. Unfortunately, I really wish I had not been anywhere near as accurate. Google has sold the hell out of the search page in 2019. We saw more paid elements of more different types than we've ever seen before. PLAs became a whole new thing. You weren't just having one type of PLA, you weren't having them on just productized pages, you now got them on all sorts of pages, and they're bloody everywhere. And unfortunately, a little bit of user research we've just conducted has proven pretty finally that it fundamentally changes how people view certain pages as soon as they see a PLA in the search result. So, Google is trying to show zero result search. That was from Jerry. He was right for 1 week. Well done. 13th, the 20th of March. Oh, at least you got it right. Yep. So, Danny Sullivan announced that the community had rebelled, and suddenly we were back to a full page of results. I wonder how that happened. Wait, sorry, this is everyone. Okay, put your hands up if you have used this particular quote in any voice search in the last year. Because you were cool. Sorry.
It's not real. Don't worry.
It was actually a completely misquoted. It was completely misquoted and misattributed. It was a conversation about a quote about how Bing's voice search was going to go. Nick, being the paragon of virtue that he is in the voice search, talked about it. No, it wasn't completely accurate because we're in 2020 now and we're not on 50%, unless somebody did something very interesting with search results in the last 15 days. So, we did see smart speaker household penetration go up significantly. We saw people get much happier about smart speakers and voice assistants. But there are a lot of people in the industry who are very unhappy about the stats, and given that it's factually inaccurate, you see why. So, from Judith, increased entity understanding will improve voice search and it will impact position 0. Absolutely right. And the BERT update, plus name entity recognition, had a substantial impact on the search last year. If you want to talk to anyone about BERT other than Judith, Dawn Anderson is absolutely your person. If you want to get into the deep dark 4 hours of this is what BERT is about, she's your lady. We also saw a significant improvement, or a significant change to position 0 based on name entity recognition and the BERT updates. Increase the number of searches starting from Amazon, not from Google. Shockingly, Jerry got it right. So, 86% of people will start on Amazon when they're searching for a product. Google is not obviously becoming outdated, but people who are thinking of an item, who are thinking something specific, and they can purchase it, they're going to start on Amazon, particularly in the UK. It's much more prevalent in the UK than it is outside. And another quote from Nick, the high street is dire and recession is imminent. Nope, although the high street's still dire. We, by the skin of our teeth, technically managed to avoid a recession last year. But only by 0.3%, so Nick, I feel like we could kind of give you a bit of credit for that one.
The question to make this really succinct is, what do you think we're going to be doing this time next year plus, if from an agency perspective rather than from a consultant perspective, given the fact that it's mostly expertise based now rather than delivery and productized?
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. It's very kind. So I think we'll see a bit of a change. I think that's clear. I think we'll see more brands moving to smaller agencies looking for more specialist skills. I think we're already seeing that. I mean, if you look at the state of the large networks at the moment, there's a lot of challenges they're facing because they're finding it hard to scale the services down and provide that specific service that people want. And it's been made out of, like, I don't know, processes and the things they need to do to make this stuff work and scale. But actually what we're finding is that businesses don't want scale, they want support. And actually the ones that do want scale are finding smaller teams and better teams to do that as well. So for agencies, I think it's, if you're a really big agency, having specialists and giving your specialists the time to be specialists is important, but I also think it's the year of the independent agency as well.
Yeah, I think about 10 years ago, all the big companies were asking for integrated agencies that did everything for them. They had one point of contact for their social, their paid, their display, the whole trip. I was actually in an agency that unfortunately had to close its doors because it wasn't able to provide that to its biggest clients, and it lost it. Over the last 10 years, we've seen a hard swing the other way. Now people want specialists on every different aspect. They don't want to have a broad generalist that deals with all the top level. They want to have people who really know the nitty-gritty of what they're dealing with on the account. And they don't just want a junior who's going to sit there and kind of randomly do things in like large quantity. They want somebody who really knows what they're doing to be able to say, this is what I'm doing, but more importantly, this is why I'm doing it, and this is how I'm doing it. So it's a case of understanding the need for radical specialization and hyper-focus.
Can we stop being quiet and doing it in turn? Because can I just say, like, I find it so interesting how you describe agency, like the people that are in house. Because, like, for me, there's not a difference. Like, what do you think an agency is and what's a consultant? Because I work at a marketing agency, but independently, if you took every individual, they are consultants and they're talented and know right what they're doing. They just happen to have some frameworks and an operations team behind them. So surely it's very similar.
I mean, a lot of the I've got an agency background myself, you know that, and have ads, you know, what I bring. And to be honest, they got rid of a lot of the older people, which was fatal for a lot of the agencies. And we all went out, became consultants. And you know, we go in at a much higher rate. We go in, we work at a much higher level than the agencies, which is largely about commoditizing work. And the people who are most senior, most talented in that environment, the agency environment, meeting clients, and then client goes and they're selling. And then they're pushing work down to the juniors. That's different. Consultants.
Structured agency level.
I'm sure that's what happens. And this is about the rise of a very specific skill set where you've got to make very, very large changes now. Huge changes across the architecture, across the entire website, the way businesses function. And I can say this from a personal point of view from both of them. They've never done these changes. They've only been doing changes in the last couple of years. They've had SEO agencies for a very long time. But they've never had the integration to make those kind of fundamental changes in the business. And I think when it comes to constructing your data, dealing with all these changes that happen, how websites need to be, how they need to function, performance, you know, these aren't sort of peripheral tasks to do as an SEO agency. So if I have to give advice to an agency, it would be, you know, celebrate your specialists, celebrate the people who really know what they're doing in your agency structure. Give them money, give them space to learn and develop and help develop your talent. But recognise that these are the people that should also be doing work. It's not like a machine. And they shouldn't be, you know, if you look at law, group of lawyers, you know, the top lawyers are taking the top cases. You know, they pass the work down to the juniors. Juniors want to be the top lawyers. Agencies are completely on its head. You know, agencies, the top people that aren't doing the work. The juniors doing the work. So, you know, how can you structure your agency in a slightly better way so you have that expertise and that kind of work that's getting that's A-class work?
Nick, I would actually slightly disagree with you there. If you're a client and you're paying a day rate to an agency, you actually want juniors to be doing the delivery. So if you think about how most statements of works are structured, it will be like client partners and stuff like that will be a high billable, and then the juniors will be a low billable. Do you want your client partner to sit and like change metadata on a site for like £1,200 a day? No, you don't.
Absolutely not, Ross. But then, you know, changing metadata isn't going to give a 10% increase in revenue across the large enterprises.
Unless you're changing it on 10 million.
So, you know,
Yes, you could just hire an intern and they could do that, and that would be cheaper. Which, like, we blend our day rate because of that. Because we're like, if we tell people we've got juniors doing things, they'll expect 6 times the work. Whereas if we put our like head up on something, they expect half the work because they think it's double the day rate. So we don't tell people who does what.
Yeah,
but
so,
we don't know if we're right.
Yeah, so agencies, you would typically buy an agency for either the thinking or the doing or both. So the consultant function is usually the thinking, then you get someone in to do the doing depending on the client's particular needs are.
As an agency, you're being cheapest to work. Good for the agency. But thinking strategy, that's expensive.
So because the agency is doing it over and over and over again, and that website that you've got, there's so many things you can apply to that. Like the economy of scale they have is so much more extreme than the consultants. They're actually able to deliver in a lot of projects much quicker and much more cost effective.
In balance to that, I'd say people who are eating your lunch are essential. People like this are coming in who have the strategy of the consultants and they're not digital agencies, but they're able to kind of do the strategic piece. And then they're able to push it back to their juniors because this isn't a skilled task.
But I think there's a thing here which is like, yes, and consultants, regardless of who's doing the work or who's in control or who's in charge of meeting clients, there is this trend that, particularly within large agencies, the higher you go, the less specialist you become. And eventually you get to the point, and not every agency, I'm talking networks and I've experienced this firsthand, like you're expected to know everything because that's how you get to managing partner, that's how you get to X thing. But actually, it's those people that should be having the difficult conversations with clients and leading and causing and things get fucked up. Like these are the people that should be helping triage that, and yet they're the ones that are going, no, I'm not. Like, I'm either above that or I'm outside of that. And that's, I think, the difference. So, yes, I agree. Like, you don't want your senior directors doing metadata because that's not efficient. But at the same token, you do want them talking to you on a regular basis and supporting your operation. You don't want them talking to the random paid search person over there because that's roughly within their remit as far as the agency expects.
So there's another side to this that I'm going to interject because this is a radical opinion. Yeah, I know. I should be just in the middle. So I'm brought in when an agency. But I'm the person that people bring in because they have really messed up. They have a junior working on it. They've given them strategic insight and oversight, but they've not actually given them actual oversight. They've messed things up. They've done something like translated from English to Spanish. Those keywords aren't used in Spanish because they didn't bother doing the research, and they've lost the client or come near to losing the client. The number of clients I've saved is in the millions of pounds for agencies because it's a bad model to have juniors unsupervised working on a senior strategic piece. So yes, Accenture can come in and try to eat our lunch, but the juniors that they put on it don't have the oversight from the experts that we have in the agencies that are specialists.
One of the questions is basically, as Google is now personalizing the hell out of everything, you know, the strategies that we employ to kind of get visibility, 10 blue links and all things like that, I feel like agencies, a lot of them aren't quite keeping up. What do you guys think?
We're not 10 blue links anymore though. I mean, we've just had the announcement today that position 0 means that you get eliminated from the 10 blue links. So there's 11 search results. 10 of them are organic. 1 is also organic, but it's more visible than the other ones. We're not 10 blue links. We've got shopping results. We've got maps. We've got so much shit that's going on in the search results. We're not 10 blue links. So we as SEOs have had to play with PPC. We're not 10 blue links anymore. To think about it that way is to fail.
So what we're trying to work on, and if anyone has ideas how to do it better, is how we can measure SERP real estate. So what we're doing is we're looking at how much those positions take up spaces, and then look at the size of the answer box, because sometimes there's an encouragement to click through because there's a read more option, sometimes there isn't, and we start trying to measure that, and we think if we can measure that, then we're going to measure a smarter version of ranking, but that's also nigh on impossible to measure in Google. So it'd be interesting to hear how you guys are measuring the value of SERP experience as well as your actual traffic.
I think there's a really big thing here, which is that however you do it, there's this whole unknown part of search. So whenever you do your keyword research says there's a minimum of 10 searches, but you know that there's a scale between 0 to 10, and that if you can find those users that are between 0 and 10, they're going to be really high intent, they're ready to convert. So even if you were measuring SERP real estate, you're still missing an angle, which is this whole area of the 15% of new searches that could be highly engaged customers that you're not identifying. So the only way you can do this is by thinking about the information that you have available. And rather than measuring what percentage of search we're capturing, it's more like, well, what information we put in there? How sure are we that we're appearing? What kind of things can we be found for? And working back from there.
What I guess we're trying to get at is the agency of today, does it fit a model in 3 to 5 years and the next year? Because can you hire quick enough for the changes that continue to keep coming when a job of 1 man is now a job of 5 men?
Chris, the answer is no, we can't hire fast enough, but no one can hire fast enough. So the client side can certainly not hire fast enough, and they can't hire the same level of competency that an agency has. So the agency is
But if you could
automate.
automate better, then do you need to hire, and therefore what does the job market do?
So here's the thing.
Hiring the right people.
Here's the thing with automation, right? We are, you go to most major agencies out there, they are automating tech SEO. They are hiring some very, very smart people to automate as much as they can. What happens when they automate everything? What happens to that tech SEO person at the agency when they've figured out how to automate everything? Does that person have a job?
If you were looking at CVs today, what skill set would you be looking at for somebody you wanted to employ for the next 3 to 5 years?
It's willingness to learn. It's their enthusiasm for learning digital. Because anyone can learn anything. I mean, you know, if they've got the right mindset and the right kind of person, you know, we're geeks, we've done this. You go away and you learn it, you know, and it's changing too fast. So when I'm hiring, I look for the ability to change. So their enthusiasm. I live in Ric, I've done this 20 years.
And it's the same question to Ross.
You have to love doing this. It's not a job.
We hire for IQ and skills for anyone who's a junior, not for knowledge, and the opposite for our strategists. So,
You hire for IQ.
hire for IQ and skills. So if you bring a junior in and want them to be smart and have lots of skills, like be able to use things about the office like Excel and data manipulation, all that sort of stuff, you don't necessarily care if they know like the nuances of server-side rendering yet because they're super junior. However, if they're much more senior, if you're hiring a head of or a strategist, I don't really care if they can run a tech audit on a 3 million page website, but I do care if they know the nuances of why it matters to the client's business. So that's typically how we hire.
Brand searches is actually quite important now, and one of the things that I personally have been focused on a lot is how the brand, everything like works. So, do you talk a lot about brand in the search landscape? What is your go-to brand building SEO approach for 2020 now?
Brand building for SEO, like just be better than your competitors, deliver better service, be the preferred choice amongst your audience group. And that's really difficult. Like if you've got a shit product, give up now if that's your strategy. There are other things. Did you just say damn it? I'm so sorry.
But you say do everything right, which I get, but at the same time, isn't it, from an SEO perspective, isn't it just about people searching for you more? So rather than, you guys all, not all of you are PR-y types, but most of you just create fake news to get people to get links and talk about stuff, right? We do that as well. We just put people on TV so much that people start talking about who they are. Like that's how you get stuff ranking, isn't it? You just get people searching for your brand, and then.
I think there's this whole thing that people assume that brands are going to automatically rank for everything to do with the brand, which might be for the brand name, but actually when you start getting into the nitty-gritty, you start asking really specific questions about that brand, which fuck it, people are doing. If the brand hasn't got information out there, someone else is going to answer that information. That's the thing.
The thing is, it's not SEO. We can't just be SEOs anymore. We cannot be only about search engine optimization. We have to be full suite, complete marketers. I have to understand out of home, because I've just been in Sacramento talking with an agency that are doing a bunch of out-of-home advertising, that I have to make sure any keywords that might be driven by somebody reading that to their website are optimized for.
Yeah,
otherwise someone else grabs it.
So this is kind of dangerous, and I was following you.
Dangerous.
Yeah, I was nodding along as you were saying, but then you went in different directions. So I kind of disagree with you, which I don't like. It's a very weird feeling.
Yeah, but we can disagree, but then we come together and we're all friends in this.
So the point I disagreed that was when you said we can't be just SEOs, we need to be full marketers.
Yes.
And it's not about marketing. And it goes back to what Hannah was saying. And
yes.
I keep preaching this, so apologies who heard this before from me. SEO is actually the wrong way around. You need to be a good product manager. Your website is a product. Whatever your business is, it's another product from your business. Whether you sell widgets, this, that, it is a product and service that you offer. So as SEOs, we need to be talking to the businesses and say, this product, where does it fit in the customer journey? How do people use search for all the other things you do, and then serve them, damn it, to go back to your point. Because, and then when something about it from a customer centric point of view, that goes back to the other question, like, this is what the future of SEO is, it's product management.
Yeah, and one of the things I teach is consumer journeys through the website and optimizing for the consumer journey, not for SEO, not for keywords.
The thing is, with this, we get really excited about the future. We get really excited about things changing, things are really modern. But most sites are still really messed up. So when you're talking about, what needs to be done, it's still the fundamentals. There's still a lot of work for agencies to do to do that, and they don't need high-level things to come and do that. There's still a lot of groundwork that needs to be done. So technical SEO in 2020 is still technical SEO in 2020.
So with all the focus on optimization, performance, all that jazz, everyone obsessed about speeding sites up. Lots of people talk about how PWA is a good solution. Is there any technical reason why you wouldn't by default launch a new site using PWA approach?
Yeah, we're having a lot of pain on that. We love the idea of PWAs and it's brilliant, and all the architects go, this is the future. But we've ended up with a kind of mobile development stream, web development stream, then PWA is the hope of the future. And I'd say the problems with it are largely around partners as well, especially Adobe is the main one. So trying to integrate that with your existing stack is really problematic. I'm doing some more stuff on app at the moment.
I don't think you answered the question. The reason why I say that is because from an SEO perspective, is there any negative or consequential issues of not using a PWA, not your personal experience of using a PWA? For example, is a PWA better or worse for SEO than a regular mobile site? Maybe that's a more succinct question.
Yay!
Would you like me to answer that one for you? Because this is like my bread and butter. Basically, short version is the fact that there's investment in it, and the support from it is changing constantly. Like Chrome is turning around and saying, oh, we're not going to support that anymore. Firefox already does it. iOS is, so it's very mixed support. The also question is whether or not you've got an app strategy, and so it's basically a case of whether or not it suits your business. The one thing that I would say is that PWA is a progressive web app. You don't have to kind of go fully on board with an app-like experience. You can use service workers, which means you can run things slightly offline. As Hannah says, a faster site. You can use push notifications, but it irritates the crap out of me if I go to it.
I don't think you answered the question. The reason why I say that is because from an SEO perspective, is there any negative or consequential issues of not using a PWA, not your personal experience of using a PWA? For example, is a PWA better or worse for SEO than a regular mobile site? Maybe that's a more succinct question.
Would you like me to answer that one for you? Because this is like my bread and butter. Basically, short version is the fact that there's investment in it, and the support from it is changing constantly. Like Chrome is turning around and saying, oh, we're not going to support that anymore. Firefox already does it. iOS is, so it's very mixed support. The also question is whether or not you've got an app strategy, and so it's basically a case of whether or not it suits your business. The one thing that I would say is that PWA is a progressive web app. You don't have to kind of go fully on board with an app-like experience. You can use service workers, which means you can run things slightly offline. As Hannah says, a faster site. You can use push notifications, but it irritates the crap out of me if I go to it irritates me if I go to a website and I get a, would you like to subscribe? Yeah. Would you like to accept our cookies? Would you like us to push notifications to you? Would you really not like us to subscribe? Basically, all of those notifications me off. And at a certain point, I have actually done it before where I went, I can't remember why I clicked into this site, I was just browsing, and I got pissed off. I'm not supposed to.
But are people doing something about that, like Chromium 80? Isn't that part of the new launch? They're going to make those like pop-ups and things like less annoying, so that when you land, you don't get bombarded with what's your location, tell me like what your wife's mother's name, etc. Like that's kind of part of the thing.
But I think part of this is like PWA's got a bad rep. And I had a chat with this earlier, and we discussed it, and I was like, well, PWAs originally you couldn't take payment on. And when we mention PWAs to clients, quite often they're shut off from it because they think that they're limited about what they can implement, and they're actually not. But PWAs got hyped up too early, and everyone thought they were great when they couldn't take money, and then they were like, well, we can do better targeting, but we can't transact, how do we negotiate this? And it became this huge problem. And then that disappeared fairly quickly, but the education piece about the fact it disappeared didn't happen. So actually most people that are in digital that don't specialise guys in tedious development or technical SEO don't know what a PWA could do for you. And so, if anything, like everyone in this room should go and tell everyone about how great PWAs are, and then your life will be solved, James.
There are so many legacy issues in companies that, as SEOs, we absolutely have to be aware of and we have to work around. And I think that part of our job is understanding what we have to work with and how to work around it. So part of the job of an SEO isn't just about optimizing, it's about understanding the client's needs, the client's stack and everything and legacy issues, and working around it. So we can't always use PWAs, and sometimes they're not the right answer. And any agency, any SEO specific agency that tries to sell in a solution, a single solution, is going to fail and die after a few years. I got on stage at Brighton SEO and said, you do not need AMP if you have a sub 2 second load time on your site native. Because it's about speed, it's about optimization for all the different types of devices that you might appear on. And it's about understanding what the client is.
We got into the product, we got the carousel.
Yeah, so
Google messed up.
Carousel, but
Google is disproportionate.
how much money do
Can we just stop for a second?
It's a new year, maybe we can put the voice search optimization fad to sleep finally.
Is voice there? No, voice is not. Voice devices are sold disproportionately. You've got 157 million voice devices. 157 voice devices in the US. Voice devices are sold 157 million. We've got a lot of voice devices out there. People using them. In terms of skills, I mean, there's 100,000 Alexa skills now. There's skills on Google Actions, which basically apps for Google, went from 2,000 to 19,000 last year. So the ecosystem is growing disproportionately. It's working really well. But voice has some problems at the moment, and I'll get with that. It has slowed down a bit. Their existing users are getting more devices around their houses because they're using it for certain things, but they haven't got the same kind of growth that they used to get on voice. And I think that comes down to a lot of kind of the brands have caught up with voice. They're not doing useful stuff. They're not doing useful apps. And but what's Gary really saying? Gary's saying about voice optimization, and I think what he means is don't try to optimize for voice. Because there's a lot of SEOs out there. I think they can add a tag, add a bit of content, and suddenly, bang, we're up for voice. And it's not about that. It's about organising your data, which probably comes to Rick.
So I didn't see this as like voice is dying at all. I completely agree with this statement purely because like the amount of voice search audits I've seen, there are literally lists of keywords that we can answer. But like it's like keyword SEO again. It's like create a page of content with one keyword. Great. The thing is with voice, as soon as someone mentions something, then Alexa or Siri or whatever asks you, did I answer your question? That changes the output for everybody else. That's happening all the time. So like answering a specific question in that moment.
Have you got Alexa?
Yeah.
They don't do search. They don't actually do. If you say to it, have this amount of give you an answer, but it won't actually. No, because
it's the same as you saying, when I Google something, I don't rank. Like that's the same stupid client question that we get all the time.
It is really bad.
So you've got really bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah,
would you like a
use the API, put it properly, do some data analysis before you interact.
Okay, this is how.
So would you like an intelligent question instead?
Yeah, go on.
I was actually only coming here tonight to take the piss out of everything and drink a lot of alcohol, but actually, I think there's a really interesting thing about voice search, and I think there's something else that I want to ask you and get the opinion of the entire panel on. So voice search is really interesting. The problem with voice search is it really only works in a private environment in terms of asking things like, what are the results from my STD clinic test? You don't want to ask that in public, for example. Or read out your credit card number in order to make a purchase in public, for example. So all of the smart speakers and everything else work great in a private environment or in a concierge in a hotel environment. Which means that what can we do in public that is absolutely seen a billion times every single day and that actually produces really interesting search results, and that's image search, because everyone is used to seeing everybody taking photographs of everything. So do you think, panelists, that in a public environment, image search is going to far outweigh voice search in 2020 and beyond?
So I think the main problem we had with like image search and just generally is a. So firstly, I think yes, to be clear. Image search and image search devices, so things like glasses, got a bad rap because the first glasses that came out were Google Glass and they looked a bit shitty, you looked like you were in Star Trek, and they were really expensive. The thing is,
just to be clear, I'm not talking about augmented reality and bullshit like that, because that's 5 to 10 years away. I'm talking about things like Google Lens that's on every Android phone right now.
For sure, and I think that's great, but we are not, like, we have devices out there. You can get glasses that look really good and work and use Google Lens to augment information, and you look at a building, tell you what that location is and when it opens, etc., etc. That's available today. It's not popular because the companies are small and they're scaling up, but that exists. You look at people like North right now, they've got 3 or 4 shops in the US, they have that technology. I can see Chris jumping up and down, like he's really pretty happy. I feel like this might be one of his keynote speeches.
I think we can already take a picture of something and search for it. So image search is already here, where we should have been optimizing it for the last 5 years.
I mean,
People who are intelligent are
sorry to be an arsehole journalist, but the question was, will image search be more popular than voice search in a public environment? Run across the panel, yes or no?
Yes.
Can we start off from the rear and then move on, please?
Yes.
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 No, I'm going to be the voice of the image.
Already yes.
It depends.
So Judith, why no?
Why will image search not be more popular than voice search?
Why will image search not be more popular than voice search in a public environment?
So we already have the ability to take a picture of something and actually search for it. The tendency of people in a public environment that I've observed, because of degree in psychology, is that they will actually now more often than not default to voice searching for something than image searching. So the number of people I see taking a picture versus actually audibly expressing their search intent is skewed. And that's why I believe that imaging, so taking a picture of something in image search is not going to be more popular than voice, simply because people, and I'm not talking about what's that weird rash on my arm, I'm talking about what time is it, what is the capital of Uzbekistan?
So the question I've got, and I've always been really intrigued by this, is there's a good Hart's law, a measure stops becoming, when a measure stops becoming a target, it's about to like or something. So the thing I've got with voice search is, how do you monetize that? So right now, you see in Search Console, you get good traffic, sure, it looks all great, and clients love it. Oh, when I speak, hey Google, what makes a good fire curtain? What makes a good fire curtain? It could go, well, Latham's door suggested. No one ever fucking buys that shit, right? So how do you, the problem I've got with SEO is people go, they're focusing too much on these macrometrics rather, these what's coming through Search Console, that sort of shit. How do you monetize that? Because as far as I can see at the moment, you can't. And just having your voice named out is a vanity thing. So how do you monetize that?
You want to have voice work on your company.
I mean, as far as I can, and maybe I'm imprinting my own beliefs on this. When I ask it something and it reads out a brand name, I literally ignore the brand name and hear what the answer is, and then I get on with my day. I've never asked Google, what's the best shirt to buy? I ask it something like,
You're not going to at the moment because you haven't got advanced voice search, probably multi-step queries. So until we can do that, it isn't going to work. I mean, it's cat noises. I want to be Doctor Who. I want to be Doctor Who. I want to like a Doctor Who noise. I want to have
That's also not true. Because
not
there was
rubbish.
an 80% increase in the last 2 years on people that search for personalised searches. Oh, hi, Carrie. So there was an increase in searches where someone was like, what's the best X for me? Like, what's the best hairstyle for me? What's the best hair colour for me? People search that, so they expect the device to know.
so tell me how that gets made into money then. So it'll say, Bob is the best hairstyle for blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Curly hair girl is the best plug for you.
Ross is going to do this.
The way in which you turn that into money is that you use it as one of your SEO expert arrows in your pack, and then you get paid to speak at conferences about it.
That's how you monetize.
Outside of that, you're bound to your man.
I was going to say, because I think a byproduct of getting involved in search is get a featured snippet. That's normally what happens.
So that's, I always tell to a client, sure, we'll work on your voice search, but really I'm working for a feature snippet. I can sell you the benefit there, but I cannot sell you the benefit of getting a voice search.
Why would you create two mutually exclusive strategies, right? Why would you not make sure that you're providing information to whoever looks, wherever they look, whenever they look, whether that's on Google, a feature snippet, or in voice? Why would you create two different things?
Well, my question was, a client will come to me and say, I want to work in voice search. My question was, can I tell him, fucking waste your time?
No, you literally can. So you can by sector if you speak to Google. So Google provides the search data by sector. So I'm not pissing around, I know nothing about voice search in any sector apart from hair care. But in hair care, 80% of searches are the same voice search result as the rich snippet. So that is valuable to rank the rich snippet and then also control strategy. But if you're in a sector where that isn't the same, like cars, so cars is like 60% of the same. So if you're in cars, and you should have two strategies, and you should think about it.
Think about what platform you are on. You're asking if voice search is a waste of time. Are you listing products on Amazon? In which case, Alexa is your best freaking mate. People seem to disregard that fundamentally the different voice assistants and the different platforms respond differently. They give you different results, and depending on how far along on the e-com scale you are, they are very valuable. So telling somebody it's a waste of fucking time is a broad strategy. What you should be doing is saying, which platform are you talking about? Which voice assistant are you talking about? And what do you sell? Are you an information? Are you a service? Or are you an actual product? In which case, goddamn, you should be bending down and kissing Amazon's feet for how good Alexa is at pinpointing, yes, we want one thing.
In terms of the monetization question, think about it this way. If someone was asked a question about your business and that information isn't there, what happens next? Do they go to another business? Do they find another place to go? So it's not necessarily don't do voice because you're not going to make more money. It's do voice because people are looking for your information there. And if you don't give that to them, they're going somewhere else.
Can I ask a panel question? So we were talking about voice earlier and about optimizing for it and stuff like that. If you had 10 grand to spend on a campaign, are you seriously going to, as an SEO, are you seriously going to put voice in your strategy?
If you can come up with one good idea that's going to appeal to a customer, like Find My Phone, which, let's be frank, is like the top 10 of every single country for an app. And why the hell is someone third party doing it when Vodafone could do Find Your Phone much better than them? Then hell yeah, do it. And then take that, give it to Carrie, or someone like that who's there. And
hashtag sponsored.
She's in the corridor on the phone. Carrie, come back. We're talking about you.
You're missing verbal links, man.
Give that.
So many verbal links.
Vodafone Germany had Find My Phone, and they gave it to Carrie, and they said, the number 4 top app in the country is Find My Phone. Vodafone are now launching Find My Phone from Vodafone for free. You can have it. She'd go wild with that. She'd push it out. That's the value in it. Is doing an app, a skill like that.
Can we do one top tip for what SEO in 2020 is going to be like, so that Jules can do her wrap up again?
Just build more links.
Build more links. So Ross is going to build more links.
Would be measure, I said this last year, and it doesn't ever get included as a successful tip because it's not a thing. But measure what you're doing. Do things that you can measure, prove a value, and then you'll have SEO contracts for life. Judith?
I like that, SEO contracts for life. So my one tip for 2020 is, again, last year, 2019 as an entity search was really important. I think that there's an evolution of this. Google has already said it's going to be launching new schema. And so I think it's important for all of us to be aware of what's technologically coming through the pipeline from Google, so schema. Make sure that you're on top of the new schema that's launching, and make sure that you understand topicality and what entities are. Because if we don't understand this is the way that Google is going. Screw SEO, this is the way that Google is going. And if we don't understand Google and we don't have products for Amazon, we're gonna die. So entity search is still important, but also stay on top of schema, because new schema is launching. And if we're not on it, we're gonna die.
Amen.
I'm from the school of kind of getting stuff done at a really high level, and Schema is amazingly useful at the moment, not for what it's doing, because it's very little, but where it's really incredibly useful for me is it's highlighting the content gaps that exist across our websites that we should be filling. Because when you start to deal with the relationships and what you're describing, if I'm talking about superfast to Vodafone means a huge amount within Vodafone. To you, it means nothing. You can see blank faces. Superfast is a broadband package. It's an offer. It's it's connectivity. It's like, so in order to make this meaningful to Google, we have to start publishing a lot of content through the site architecture to render stuff that meant something to brand team, but means something to normal people. So when you start implementing schema at that kind of level, schema becomes a kind of justification for giving the kind of content on the site we should have done years ago. So that's what I recommend. Look at schema in that respect. Not in terms of what it does, but in terms of content.
Totally concur. Stop believing industry bullshit. This hype about all this bullshit, like, oh, so-and-so says X, so it must be true. Never mind the fact you haven't tested it, you haven't tried it, you don't have any evidence of your own, you're just believing the hype of personal culture. Literally the cult of personality has taken over SEO, and it actually terrifies the crap out of me, because you watch one person say, hey, X is true or Y is true, and they say, you know what, this is true as far as I'm concerned, and you go, hang a second, every experience I have is completely counterintuitive. So you believe them because they're supposed to know better than you, even though your practical experience says it's not true. And at the end of the day, when we listen to people, we don't test ourselves. What you do is you run down a path that everyone else is running down, and you hope like hell it's leading to the right place. 99% of the time, that's not the case.
One final point. Right. Two things, both are linked. One, there are going to be acronyms upon LSI to TF-IDF that are going to come out of the industry. Just stop trying to learn every single minute type, every single one, because some of them are so fucking complex that when you do learn it, it doesn't help you do what you do better. It just means that you know one more thing better than the other person, you can play more with them on Twitter if you want to. Focus on what you want, focus on what your website needs, build a good basis of information, and answer people's questions, right? That's what we're here to do, that's what search is, right?